In today's video, we are going to be talking about some potentially quite terrifying yet exciting things depending on how you react to this information and how you are positioned. There's a storm coming in our industry and you're going to find yourself in one of three positions. The first is that you are swept away by it and you go literally out of business. You find a way to weather the storm, but the business isn't really that enjoyable. Or the third option is that you are prepared for this, and I'm hoping I can help you here, so that you are able to actually control this storm and actually thrive within it. I think this information that I'm going to share with you today is critically important. In fact, I'm going to leak right now a recording from a session I did for my $20,000 coaching clients that came and saw me at my HQ not too long ago. This was last week at the time of recording this. And when I finished that session, even though these people paid £20,000 to be in that room and hearing it, I was overcome by this feeling of duty of care for my industry and my community. This stuff is so important. You need to be aware of this. And so I'm going to share this with you. Now, it was a long session. I'm going to break it up into 3 parts. You're currently watching part 1. And in just a moment, we're going to switch to that recording of that session in that room. And we're going to talk about these big changes that are coming in our industry and how you must be prepared and adapt if you have any kind of business in our industry. Courses, coaching, consulting, agency, expert, you do events, you're an author, you're a speaker, you're on social media. This marketplace is about to change. So today we're going to talk about that and some of the ways that we can be reacting to it, solving those problems and thriving in our business. And then there's going to be part 2 that I'm going to upload here real soon onto the channel that's going to then go deeper into some of the ways that we're responding to these issues so that we can again thrive. We're going to talk about traffic, we're going to talk about marketing, we're going to talk about sales, we're going to talk about team and our operations. This will be perhaps the most valuable 3-part video series you've seen on YouTube in a very long time. So strap in, get ready to take some notes, grab a cup of coffee, and let's get into this.
I want to share with you biggest updates that I'm seeing in the industry, biggest changes, movements that are currently occurring that I actually think we need to be very aware of, and we need to action, and we actually need to pivot the way we're doing certain things. Otherwise, my concern for my own business and your businesses is that we will go out of business in the next few years. Like, I really think there are some changes that are quite pivotal, and we're going to talk about them. So for those of you that are newer to, I guess, my world, the way I present, I recommend you have your notepads out ready because you're going to want to take very fast notes. I talk fast at the best of times, and I've got a lot that I'm trying to cram into the next perhaps 60 minutes together. So we are going to go very, very fast, at risk of giving you a little bit too much information in this next session, but I feel that I need to share it all because I just think it's critical. Does that make sense? Happy? Okay, so try and keep up. What I've got is lots of notes on what I want to share, and it's going to be, I guess, because we had expansion mastermind here in this very room last week, and I did a similar session actually, and when I was planning for this morning, I was like, I feel like this could be, like I just said, at risk of too much information, and also maybe just slightly not high level, but just like maybe running before we can walk. And I'm just a little bit concerned about that. But the more I thought about it, it's like, no, this is critical. This is really, really important that we share this stuff. And so, Greg, this is going to be a repeat for you. You heard all this stuff before. By the way, Greg's in our expansion mastermind, and I do just want to give him a quick shout out because he was here last week in this very room. He's from America. He's only staying in the UK to join this event so that he can do a session for you on the stuff that he's incredible at. He's literally stayed for that reason. So thank you, Greg. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And this is, I guess, the culture that we create here in our client groups is we want to give back. When we learn cool stuff, we give back. I just think it's amazing that you've done it. So thank you. So we're going to talk about updates, what I'm seeing, and how we can stay ahead. I've got so many notes to try and keep up. First, we're going to do is we're going to address some of the problems and the issues that I'm seeing in the marketplace. And it's going to sound a little bit doom and gloom because we're going to talk about all the rubbish things that are happening and how it's hard for us to keep up, and it's going to sound awful. But then we're going to flip that, and we are going to pivot into the positives. Okay, so stick with me. We'll get to the good stuff. First thing, one of 3, in case you're wanting to follow along with your notes. First thing, AI is a massive disruptor. And we throw this word around and we talk about it, but I want to make sure we truly understand how disruptive this thing actually is and how disruptive it's going to be so that we can definitely stay ahead of it. Otherwise, we're going to get stuck. Like, we're absolutely going to get stuck. So when I think about this, we've got kind of like three camps. You've got, whoopsie. By the way, I can't spell to save my life, so you're gonna learn this as we go. I'm dyslexic. I failed everything in school. Do you know I dropped out of high school? I didn't do any of my GCSEs. Okay, none of them. I've got NA on all of them. The only one I did, I got a D, was math. I just didn't show up. I was the naughty kid, and anyway, so I don't have any of these skills. But who cares? So that says dismissive. Okay, all right. So then we got interested. I think I can spell that one. And then we've got obsessed. Never critique me on my spelling, please. It made me feel awful. So we've got these three camps. And this is kind of where everyone in our space right now is sitting in one of these three camps. You've got people that are dismissive. They're kind of like just ignoring it. They're pretending it's not there. They don't want to think about it. And AI is just not a thing. Or it's fad. It's a fad. It's going to go away. Then you've got a second category of people that are interested in it. We know it's important. We know it's going to be disruptive. We know that it's also going to be helpful for us. And so we're thinking about it. We're interested. We're in that camp. And then you've got obsessed. Okay, you've got people that are just like absolutely obsessing over this thing. You know that this is going to be an absolute game changer, and you are spending a disproportionate amount of time on it right now because you just know this is the future. By show of hands, who currently fits into the dismissive category? Anyone? Good, because that's the only wrong answer in this exercise. It's actually the only wrong answer. So now there's no wrong answer. So it could be one of these. So I'm not trying to trick you. How many of you are in the phase of interested, exploring it? Okay, very cool. Hands down. And how many of you are in the camp of obsessed? Yeah, on the cusp of obsessed. Okay, so you're right here in the room. Okay, so about half the room interested, half the room obsessed. That's great. I spent the last kind of year or so in the interested camp. Interested in it for me was, I know it's a thing, it sounds fascinating, it's starting to take over, there's some cute little AI tools that are going to help us do these different things, but I'm certainly not spending like hours on it every day, like thinking about it, consuming it, learning it, modeling it. I've now moved over into this camp, and I highly suggest that you all do the same, like highly suggest. Some of the conversations I've been having with friends of mine and industry experts and competitors of mine, like there's a lot of collaboration up at that level. The things we share, the things we've talked about, like make this the only option. And I'm gonna talk about some of them, but I also don't want to go too overboard because I actually don't want to freak you out. But where this is going is absolutely insane. And if you just stay in the interested category, I actually think you'll go out of business, honestly. Like where it's going is quite nuts. So we're going to have to be obsessed to respond to this. I told you it was going to sound doom and gloom. Yeah, I've come to this event to learn how to grow my business, and John, the first thing he said is you're going to go out of business. You know, that doesn't sound great, but I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to help you. Hopefully you can see that. So let's talk about why this is going to be such a disruptor. If you could pull my screen up, please. There's an article that I'm going to highly recommend that you all read, okay? The domain name is ai-2027.com. By show of hands, has anyone read this article? Has anyone come across it already? Oh, cool. A few of you around the room. Interesting. This is a report that was put together not by some online nobodies and randos. This is some of the people at the forefront of AI research, development, and integration. Some of the biggest names that, if you're in the AI scene, you would recognize. You can hear about that in these different tabs here. But this is a prediction. This article and this report is a prediction of where we're going with AI, and as best they can, simulating how they feel that journey is going to look between today and 2027. Why 2027? Because we're on a journey for AI to become superhuman. Superhuman, in the sense that we're going to go from AI to AGI, and when we move from AI to AGI, we're going to get to a point. It's artificial general intelligence. And what that is when we're getting to a point where AI can think, reason, rationalize, strategize better than the average, better than any human being on the planet. So it's going to be able to do this. Like right now, we've got great AI models where we're able to ask it something and it gives us great information in return. Okay, it's like a game of ping pong. It's like I take to you, to me, to you, to me. We're going to get to a point where it's going to be able to think and actually do the things without you having to ask it. And it's going to get to a point where it can be superhuman because it is better and smarter and more intelligent at reasoning and rationalizing than the average human being, okay? First step to that, like at the very top of the article, if you have a look at this, those few dots there represent the current ChatGPT, okay? ChatGPT 4, okay? One of the ones that is coming next is Agent 1, and that is the comparison in terms of its knowledge, its abilities, the way it can think, the way it can reason. And this is just like where we're about to go. Like we're talking within, a matter of days, okay? We're not talking years here, we're talking days. But then as you read down this article, we're just talking about where it's going. And by 2027, we're at that point where it's superhuman, okay? How many of you in the room are kind of nervous by that a little bit? Okay, hands down. How many feel excited by that? Oh, that's cool. Okay, good. Because the reality is, as you've probably heard, there will just be opportunities. There'll be so many opportunities that come up. And if we now, okay, where we are in 2025, if we're aware of this, if we're learning about this, if we're integrating this and we're doing this, then we are going to be in the group that have already pivoted towards, not even making the right changes in the business, because we've already done that. But when it gets to the point where everyone's freaking out, we're not. Because we anticipated this, our business is set up for this. Okay, so hopefully you're with me. So that's that. You can pull that down now. So a few other things that make this a disruptor.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this content so far, I understand there's a lot to keep up with. We've got notes for this whole presentation, what you've seen already and the stuff to come. If you want the notes from this session that we handed out to our clients that were in the room, just DM me on Instagram, say the word notes, and my team will send those to you free of charge.
It's the noise in the marketplace. There's a lot of noise right now, and it means competition is fierce. There are so many people that are able to do the type of stuff that we're doing, and we have to stay ahead because information alone is going to become easily obtainable for anything on the planet. The knowledge that we have and the things we're great at, the reason you built the businesses that you're building, the information alone, just the knowledge, is going to become easily accessible, okay? And so it's about how we package ourselves up, how we differentiate ourselves, and how we continue to grow and scale our business, knowing that the information piece is not as valuable anymore, but we're able to build our business around the information. And we'll talk a bit more about that later on, but competition is fierce. It's increasing the skepticism. With where AI is going already, the average person is, is this AI? Is it not? Is this person a real deal? Because you can brand yourself and make yourself look fantastic as a pop-up coach that arrived yesterday. And so people are just starting to be a bit more skeptical about who they're spending money with, okay? It's also a hot topic. And because it's a hot topic, it's taking the attention real estate. When you scroll on your newsfeed right now, you probably just see AI things all the time, and we're gravitating towards consuming that information because it's a hot topic. And so we're at risk of our other topics just feeling less valuable, less interesting, because it's a hot topic. So it's not going to go away completely, but it's just stealing that attention real estate. There's also the value proposition for consumers, and we need to be aware of that. For them, when they're looking at you, your business, what you do and how you can help them, there's the value proposition. Like, what am I getting from this person in return? And there is already I see it happening, and I just think it's only going to get worse, is the subconscious downgrade that we experience if we don't have AI as part of our deliverables. Let's unpack that a little bit. When we're leveraging AI, we're not just leveraging it to write us some copy, help build a sales funnel thing, or do some editing or create a logo. Like, all of that's fine on the front end, but we also need to incorporate AI on the back end. Actually, we need to incorporate it into the way that we're delivering for our clients and providing that service. And the more this becomes a thing, and again, this is where being in this room, I can't tell you, this is so valuable for you because you're hearing this now first and you can prepare. Because the people that are smart, and I think this is now you, people that are smart will integrate AI into the delivery piece, because you will then have an advantage and look more valuable. Let's unpack this. If you were trying to get through to a utilities company because they overcharged you £182, right, on your water bill or electricity bill, whatever the case may be, and you phone up and you're on hold for 30 minutes speaking to a human representative, and then they can't find your details, and they're not understanding your request, and then they say, let me put you on hold, sir, while I go and check this thing, and then they come back, and you've been on there for 90 minutes now, and then they go and check with their manager to approve something they may or may not be able to do for you, and it's a 2-hour ordeal just to get this friggin' bill sorted. Anyone had that scenario? Yeah? Okay, only 2 of us? Like, really? My goodness me. Like, that's like, feels like every day for me at the moment. So now, let's compare that to an AI on the phone that is fully trained on every single piece of information, data, metrics, tracking within that business. Now it's superhuman to where it's going to be able to read that data, understand it, rationalize it, make decisions better than any human being on the entire planet. And once the consumers know that that's the case, because right now there's I don't want to speak to an AI agent, get me through to a human. Like, we're still now like, no, get me to the human. I'm telling you, there will be a moment where that switches. There will be a moment where we're now going, look, just put me on the phone with your AI dude. I just, like, get me, but like that, we're going to get there. Because I would want that right now. I would want to phone BT, and I would want to just speak to an AI that's going to answer the phone in 30 seconds, give me what I need in 5 minutes, and we're off the phone. Okay? That's what I mean about the delivery on the back end. So you just need to be thinking that way now for your delivery, your coaching, your services, your products. Like, how can you be incorporating AI to make helping your customers and clients get the result quicker and actually service them better than you could do if you were just relying on humans? Like, that's the theme here, is that we're going to get to a point where there's AI abilities in our business that will actually support your customers and clients better than you could if it was all on you or your team. Is this making sense? Scary, but making sense. Okay. So, it's also, I mean, you know this one, this is obvious, but it's replacing jobs, you know, like it's just replacing jobs, and we can either try to push back on that and freak out and like dig our heels in, or we can say, this is where it's going, I can't stop it, so I'm just going to have my business pivot to connect with this. And it's like, what used to take a team of 50 people will take 5, you know, like, again, this is just where we're going, so we've got to be aware of it. And I already mentioned this one, but information is and will continue to become significantly less valuable, so we have to wrap our business up in other things, okay? So that's just the first problem. This isn't sounding very good so far, is it? That's the first problem. Second problem, and I think there's a tie-in, I think they connect, is that we've got the rise and sheer volume of other coaches, experts, service providers coming online, which is, of course, creating competition. I'm sure you've felt it. It's like, I just know that I'm like one of many, you know, and so there is that problem, and there's more of the many coming in. And so, of course, there's the way in which we need to differentiate ourselves, which we will. And you're in the right place. We're going to teach you exactly how to do that. That's what we're really good at. And now it's just more so than ever before important that we're actually doing that. That we're not just, I hope you don't mind me picking on you, but we were talking earlier, which is that we had a great conversation, you know, not just another life coach, because we don't just want to be another one of many. We want to position ourselves as a category one of one. And there's lots of ways we can do it, but that's what we need to start doing. So that's the second problem. It's a quicker one to share, but there's just more competition, so we've got to navigate that. Third issue is that trust is at an all-time low and skepticism at an all-time high. So you've got this like gap now in the buying journey, where we could just, pop up an ad, someone's never heard of us before, and then they book a call with us within 4 hours, speak to us the next day, and part with 10K. It's just getting harder to do that because the trust is an all-time low, skepticism all-time high, so the buying gap is much, much larger. So we must talk about how do we refill the buying gap to bring them to a place where they're going to make a purchase. I like to think about it as the trust bridge. It's just a way you can think about it in your mind. It's like where the trust bridge, you know, you're on one side and your prospect's on the other side and you're waving saying, hey, the answer's over here, like come over that bridge. The bridge used to look pretty and beautiful and it was easy to walk on, and all you had to do was have a big banner that said, I've got the offer that you need. And they go, oh, I'll walk the bridge. And now it looks like a terrifying bridge. To your prospect, they're seeing like, picture the worst bridge you can see in your entire life. It's like an old wooden, like rotting, falling apart thing. It's like, there's evidence that someone's, put their foot in and just gone through it. And like, that's your prospect now. It's like, I'm telling you, like, your offer looks good. I can see your banner and it looks good. I've walked this bridge so many times now, and I've just been hurt. I've been burnt. I've wasted money. So there's this trust bridge that's all falling apart. So we have to repair it. We have to repair that trust bridge and create the path for them to come over and demonstrate that we're doing it. We're doing the work to repair it, almost coming to you so I can lead you across. And there's ways in which we're going to do that. And it really comes down to the value that we provide the marketplace and the branding. I shared that with you earlier. Like, that's the big takeaway. You just want to write that down. It's like branding and value, branding and value. You've got these two things: great branding, great positioning, coupled with enough value. And those two things will eventually get the client. It really will. All right. So those are the 3 problems. Should we talk about some solutions? Okay, so what's our response? Well, firstly, the momentum framework that I shared with you is, again, you're going to tire of hearing me say this, more important than ever before, because that momentum framework has lots of different pieces of the business working together. We're just past the time where you can just have like a one simple track. It's like, I just run that one ad creative. I've got one video, one ad, I send them to one page, they book a call and they close, and I build an entire gigantic business on that one little track. That's just not where we are anymore. We need to build it out. We need to buy it, build it, borrow it. We need to have different ways they're getting to know us. And when they're ready, they come in, they join our email list, and we take them through to our conversion vehicle. And some of them will buy, they will take the offer, but most won't. And so what's happening after that? They need to be going back to social media and staying in that ecosystem. All the while you're following up on email and staying relevant, staying in front of them, giving second chances, providing more value. The clients that do come in, we deliver a great service so that we increase the LTV, which is lifetime value of the client. And all of those things work together. You with me? So that's the first thing. It's just more important than it's been before to have a system in the way that you're building your business. How are we responding to AI? I told you that I was stuck in the interested category for a while. I've become obsessed. Really, this is my response, and I hope it's the same for you. We as a company, we are all in on AI now, like all in. And when I say all in, what does that even mean? It means that we are putting now a disproportionate amount of time into it relative to where it's currently at, knowing that it's moving faster than ever before. And so we need to put a disproportionate amount of time into it now, so that we're prepared and ready. That means learning about it, implementing it. If you don't know where to start, just get on YouTube. Just start just searching for things. You don't have to put this massive pressure on yourself that to go all in means I'm going to now spend 8 hours of my day every day using and researching AI, because then your business is going to suffer for that reason. Going all in just means mentally. Like mentally, I understand where this is going, how critical this is. I'm all in on this being a part of my business. I'm not going to resist it in any way, shape, or form. And anywhere that I can integrate it, I'm going to be like, that's my first response. It's my default. It's my priority. That's what I mean by going all in. So it's not just about how much time you're putting into it. Maybe you can put an hour into it per day to learn about it, study it, and implement it. Maybe it's 2. Some of you that are already obsessed, you're probably doing 4 hours or more per day. How many of you are spending 4 hours or more per day looking into AI? Okay, so a few of us already. So some of us can do that. Others of us take the pressure off a bit, but just the big takeaway is like mentally, you're just all in. You just understand where this is going, okay? That's the first thing. So for me and my team, we're looking for ways that we can replace ourselves in every way possible. You need to get your team on board with this. If you have a team, how many of you have at least one person working for you? Okay, a few of you, fantastic. So you need to make sure that your team are on board with this. You need to convince them in the same way that I'm convincing you, and then some, on a regular basis, so that they understand they cannot be resistant to it and they've got to lean in with you. Because the last thing you want is for you to get this and like you see the future and your team are just like a brick wall, and they're worried about it replacing their job or they like that little task and so they don't want to give it up. And it's like the last thing you want is a team that you're just constantly resist. So you've got to make sure they're on board with it. And you share this information with them, and there's ways of sharing it that make sure they understand that that they're in this with you. So anyway, and we're looking at utilizing different tools in the business. We're looking at implementing AI automations and also AI agents. How many of you know what an AI agent is? Okay, now it's not to shame you, just interested. How many of you have not heard of AI agent before? Okay, it's absolutely fine. A few of you around the room. Thanks for the honesty. So just to make sure we're on the same page, an AI agent is different to a language model where you're just asking it to do you a task and it does the task and gives you a deliverable. An AI agent is where you're giving it a task to do that it's actually doing like a human. So for example, I could say to an AI agent, I want you to, every 10 minutes of the day, I want you to log in to my school group It's got a few thousand people in it. I want you to log in every 10 minutes. I want you to find the threads from people that have posted wins. And a win is based on this criteria and this, and you prompt it in the right way so it knows what a win is. And I want you to comment on it as me saying, that's amazing, great job, keep us updated. I want you to then go to posts that show that it's a negative post, that this person's being disruptive. And I want you to delete that post and then go DM that person and give them a warning and tell them that if they do that again, we won't be able to keep them in the group. And then you can maybe give them one other task. And I want you to run that every 10 minutes of the day. So that's an AI agent. So now it will do that. You don't even have to be there. It will just, you give it your login details and it'll log in, it will do the stuff, and then it'll log back out again. So that's you doing tasks for you. That's not the future, that's already now. You can already do that. Like right now, you can do that. That's where we are. So we're implementing that wherever we can in the business. How many of you, honest answer, please, how many of you are hearing this and you are on the side of, okay, this is like kind of like exciting and like it's new and okay, let's really give this, but you just struggle to find the time in the day to give to this. Like, be honest. Okay, a few of you. Now, guess what? My hand is up for real with this one because I struggle with it. It's like, we're all busy. And sometimes we think that the bigger the business gets, all of our problems will then go away. If I just hit that size of business and those clients, everything's fantastic and I can just sip that drink on the beach and the rest. That's not how it works. Your problems don't go away. They just actually get bigger. I have loads of problems every day. Sometimes business sucks, but sometimes it's great. And the great outweighs the sucks. Okay. So there's always problems and it's always busy, so it's the way that you've designed your business to look. So I still struggle with this. I'm like, I know how important this is. I want to spend hours and hours and hours on this every single day, but I just struggle to make the time and find the time that I actually want to allocate to it. So what's the answer? This is the takeaway to put in your notes. You can hire people now called AI integrators. AI integrators. And these are virtual assistants who will help you with this stuff. Just as you would hire a virtual assistant to help you clean up your emails or help you with random administrative tasks or helping clients just log in and out of the program if they've got problems. These kind of, forgive me, but like the lower value tasks, right? And maybe even just responding on social media and in your DMs, like all the stuff we would hire a VA for, which is a virtual assistant, by the way. We can now hire an AI integrator, which are, again, virtual assistants, but they're the category, the subsection of the virtual assistant market. They're the subsection that have realized what we're talking about in the room right now. They've realized it's the future. They've realized that's where it's going. They've realized that the job that they're currently in is going away. The AI agents are going to take everything that they currently do, and so they're differentiating themselves, and they've doubled down on being an expert in AI. So now we can hire these people for a fraction of the cost of hiring someone in the UK. We can hire an AI integrator from the Philippines, for example, or somewhere like that. And what you can do is you can basically dream up something that you're wanting to do with AI inside of your business, and then they will go ahead and build that flow for your business. I'll show you a couple of things. If you can share my screen again. There's a couple of sites. There's one called n8n.io. You might just want to take that name down just so you can look into it and research it. n8n.io. And there's also another
Figure 8.
Yes, n the number 8n.io. And then there's make.com. make.com. So how many of you have heard of Zapier?
Yeah.
Okay, so think Zapier on steroids. So Zapier is if this, then that, right? It's like, if this happens, if this gets added to a Google Sheet, I want you to take that cell and I want you to go ahead and send me a Slack message and give me those details so I can call that person, or whatever the case is. It's if this, then that. These platforms, make.com and N8N, platforms where you can string together different AI tasks. So you can watch a YouTube video, for example. This is how it might look for you on the day-to-day. You go, I've just watched this 15-minute YouTube video from this AI expert who's just talked about this incredible thing that you can do with AI. That for how many of you have got a salesperson that's doing calls for you? Is anyone at that stage yet? By show of hands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, 7, 8, 9. So, for example, you've got a salesperson that you don't know if you've got, like, you don't know if they're doing the right stuff, because you haven't got enough time to watch and listen to all of their calls and make sure they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. So you could set up a flow. And the flow would look like every time a sales call happens, I want you to the first flow is take that recording and transcribe it. That's the first thing. Second thing, I want you to take that, I want you to run it through all of the training that I've put in for the push and the pull script. And I want you to highlight all the areas where they're off course. I also want you to analyze it as to whether they have done every single step in the way that I've said it would be done to get the close. And I want you to find out in your analysis why this call didn't close. And I want you to take that and put it in summary notes. And I want you to send that to me. And I also want you to give a checklist of the top 7 things they need to try on their next sales call. Now, this is where it gets crazy. You take those 7 things, you deliver that to your salesperson, and that gets sent to them anyway on Slack, and there's their review. But here's where it gets really cool. The flow could continue. That once they've received that feedback, the next time they're on the phone doing a sales call, we take that transcript, it goes back into the machine. We're doing all the same stuff, but we're also scoring them against how many of the 7 things we told them to do last time did they do. So now it goes back through the evaluation wheel, and so you're just overseeing this, but the salesperson's getting everything that they need to get done to improve, and you're just having to just look at it and sign off on it and say, this is exciting, this is great. That's an example of a flow, an AI flow. So Zapier, if this, then that. These platforms are, I want to have a flow in the business, and I want AI to be helping to make that happen. Does that sound pretty cool? Yeah? And so what you can do is you can watch this 15-minute YouTube video, and you can go, I've just learned something epic. That can do this and that can do that, and I didn't realize that's amazing. I've just mapped out on my notepad how that could look in my business. That would be super cool. I don't know how it works. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to link them all together, but I just understand what I'm looking for. Guess what? You take that to your Filipino AI integrator, and you say, that's your next task, please. I want you to build that. And if there's any elements of that you're not sure how it would work yet, I want you to figure it out, because that's the output. That's what I want. Okay? So that's an AI integrator. So it's really, really cool. And you're probably looking full-time, $1,500 a month. $1,500 a month to have a full-time AI integrator just constantly integrating AI into your business. You don't have to think about it. Now, guess what? Do you have to commit to that long term? No, you could do 1 month and then you could finish up. You could do them on part-time to get started. You can also pay them an hourly rate. It's typically $5 to $10 an hour. So you could get started with a $50 task and see how it's going and see if it's working. And if it is, then you build upon it and eventually get to a point where you get a full-time person. So does that sound pretty cool? Yeah. So again, just you need to do some research on this and just think about it.
AI can quickly find a recording. Is it still the flow to wait?
Funnily enough, I was about to go to that tab. No, it's great. A great question. It means you're on the ball and paying attention. The question was, where do we go to hire these people? So there's a couple of places. Number 1, onlinejobs.ph. Onlinejobs.ph. This is one that's been around for a very long time. We have found virtual assistants from here in the past as well. And you can find some really great people. I've had a lady called Naya from the Philippines with me on my team full time for 7 years now. 7 years. You can find some really, from this site. Yeah, you can find some really good, loyal, hardworking people. So onlinejobs.ph is a good place to go. And then there's different Facebook groups that are just like, they're just taking over. So there's this Facebook group you might want to get into, N8N Philippines. When I shared this with Expansion just last week, this group had 40,000 members. Now it's got 46,000, going on 47,000. It's like this thing's absolutely taking off. And this is a place to pair people up. So there's people in here that are looking for work to do N8N automations and flows. And then you've got people like us that are in there looking for stuff that we need. So there's people posting in here all the time on like jobs that like flow. Like you see this, look, like someone's posted this flow, like this is what I need. Who can build this for me, please? Someone else, like this is the flow. Who's going to build it for me? It's like there's just constantly pairing people up with what we're trying to do. Okay. So that's where you'd go. Those are like the two best places to go. If you've got AI related questions, make a note of them, and there'll be plenty of time over the course of the next 3 days to speak to my team, speak to me. We might have time for Q&A at the end of this. Okay. That's the first thing. AI, how we're responding to it. That's how we're responding to it. We're going all in mentally And we're probably starting to think about how can I pay a VA to integrate AI for me.
So that was just part 1. If you are ready to dive straight into part 2, then we'll leave a shortcut to that right here. It's either ready for you right now or it'll be uploaded in the next couple days. So subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on so you don't miss that. It's so critical. We're going to talk about how we respond to these things in the world of traffic generation. The whole game has changed yet again. So go ahead, click on that, check out part 2, and I'll see you there.